Hi, I'm Roxy Keller, and I'm continuing to bake my way through the Great British Baking Show challenges. Today is the technical challenge from the season that was recorded in 2017, and it's week 9, which is Patisserie week. So this means French pastries or French type pastries. The technical challenge is quite a challenge. It was, of course, more of a challenge for the bakers because they had no idea what this was supposed to look like. And so I'm going to read it just so I make sure to say it right. The bakers had to make 9 Les Misérables slices. So that is a traditional Belgian cake with a pistachio and lemon joconde. So the sponge part is pistachio, so 2 layers of pistachio, 2 layers of lemon, then a crème beurre, which just means a French buttercream, and the beurre part is the butter, and then top that with chocolate decorations. Now the crème beurre has 3 layers. One of those has raspberry in it, so pistachio, raspberry, lemon, and then topped with some fancy decorations. So I think it won't be too hard for me since I know what all of the layers are supposed to look like. But because it's a joconde sponge, that means that there are no leaveners other than the egg whites. And when you do the stacking, you want all of the layers to be the exact same thickness. So that's probably the biggest challenge. And I'm not the biggest fan of using egg whites as the leavener, but I have learned a couple of tricks recently, so maybe I can do a good job of blending those in while not losing the lift from those egg whites. So, welcome, and please subscribe to my channel. It would really help. You won't get any emails or advertising or anything from doing that, but it would really help me out. So thanks. Let's get started. One of the challenges about this has nothing to do with the actual bake itself, except that for all of the other challenges, for all of the other technical challenges where the bakers were given a recipe and instructions, there's a particular Great British Bake Off website where you can go to and get the instructions and the ingredients. Well, there isn't one for this one. However, someone from, I'm guessing it's from the UK, wrote up the instructions and the ingredients. And of course, this is just a lay person who also likes doing the technical challenges. And so I don't know if the instructions are complete. I don't know how good they are. I don't know if all of the ingredients are included, but I'm just gonna trust it and go with it. And this person made some very beautiful Belgian Les Misérables slices, so I can only guess that she has all the information in here. So like I said, we start with the joconde sponge, and I'm going to start with the half of the ingredients, not including the egg whites. We have to whip up the egg whites separately and then fold those in. This cake is mostly almond flour, so I start with 225 grams of almond flour. In the British recipe, it says ground almonds, but that's what we call that almond flour. 150 grams of white granulated sugar, and the British call it castor sugar. That's because their sugar granules are a little bit smaller. You can buy castor sugar or superfine sugar in our grocery stores. This is cheaper, so when I don't think it matters, I'll use white granulated sugar. In the egg whites, I'll actually use the superfine castor sugar or baker's sugar, ultra-fine granulated sugar. Now her recipe calls for 5 large eggs, And what I've learned from listening to my favorite podcast, the Home Baking Podcast, is that apparently they call their egg sizes a little bit different than we do in the United States. So their large is our extra large, and I don't have extra large, so I'm going to use 6 large eggs. You know, just so I don't overdo the eggs, I think I'll just put the egg white from that last egg and save this egg yolk for the buttercream. We'll need that in the buttercream. On the stand mixer, I have in the bowl just the almond flour and the sugar. I'm going to whisk that together first. Now I'll add the eggs one at a time. Scrape down the sides and the bottom, make sure it's all mixed in. Which of course it's not. We'll set this aside until the egg whites are ready. If you are lucky enough to have a second bowl for your stand mixer, which I do, very lucky, we need that second bowl now. If you don't have a second bowl, you could do the egg whites first and then put them in a separate bowl. Then do the almond flour egg mixture in the same bowl when you have to wash it, and then fold in the whites. So basically here, I am making a meringue. So it will be egg whites and sugar. It calls for 5 egg whites from large eggs. So again, I'm going to use 6 egg whites from 6 large American eggs, and I'll add the egg yolks into the bowl with that other one. We'll use those later. Now all of these eggs are at room temperature because they will blend up much quicker and much better if they are at room temperature. And since I always forget to pull them out early enough, I just warm them up in some warm water from the tap until they're room temperature. I went to a little local baking class one time where they said you're supposed to crack your egg on a flat surface rather than on the edge of the countertop. Supposedly, it cracks the egg in a way that you're less likely to get eggshells in it. It doesn't work for me. Doing it on the edge just breaks it so much easier and with fewer cracks. So I just have to keep doing it my way. So the egg whites from 6 large American eggs weighs 188 grams. Now I'm going to weigh out the caster sugar or superfine sugar that I'll add once these get going. I need 75 grams of ultrafine sugar. Okay, I'm going to start out by whipping these on low for 1 minute and then take it up to high to get it to stiff peaks. They've reached a soft peak, so I'm going to start adding the sugar, just spoonful by spoonful right here between the blade and the side of the bowl. Still about medium. I think that's stiff peak. It didn't bend over at all. I understand that you can over whip these, so I don't want to do that. Next, I need to fold the egg whites or the meringue into the almond mixture, and then I will sift in just 50 grams of flour and then add in 35 grams of melted butter. I'm going to melt the 35 grams of butter, and I did use salted butter. doesn't say anything about being concerned about adding hot melted butter into your mix with your egg whites, but I feel like that would really release the air from the egg whites that we just whipped. So I'm going to put it on this little ice pack so that it's cold when I put it in. It'll still be melted. I'll just catch it at that point just before it gets solid. Folding in the egg whites, I'm just going to put in about 1/3 of them to start with. That's one of the tricks. The other trick is in how you blend them. So I am to start at 12 o'clock, go down to 6 o'clock, whip and fold over like that. Then turn your bowl 1/4 of a turn and do the same thing. Every time getting all the way down to the bottom. And the reason you just put in about 1/3 of your egg whites is because if you put them all in at once, you'll more than likely deflate them more easily. Then the next 1/3. And the last of the egg whites. So basically, you're just picking up batter from the bottom and flipping it onto the top of the egg whites. Interesting. Now I'm sifting in 50 grams of all-purpose flour. The British call it plain flour. Fold that in. Again, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, flip and turn. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, flip and turn. I can do it more quickly than I can say it. Now to fold in the butter. And it did cool off, so without becoming solid. That's what it looks like. Prior to starting today, I put parchment paper into 2 baking sheets and sprayed them a little bit with some baking spray. 2 of them, because remember we're going to split this into pistachio and lemon. All she said was a large baking tray, and knowing that she's British concerns me a little bit, because this is a large baking tray to Americans, but in the UK their ovens are smaller. But on the show, this is the size it looked like they were using, so I guess I'll just go with it. Okay, so I need to split the batter into 2, and I want to do that as evenly as I can. I know the weight of my bowl is 808 grams, so all of this together, 1790 minus the 808. And then I will divide that in 2, and I'll put that amount into the other bowl. So that math brings me to 491 in each bowl. I'll just do 485 transferred in here because, you know, some always gets left behind. So 485, 486, that'll work. For the lemon sponge, I'll add the zest of 2 lemons. And I did wash these. I fill up a bowl with water, put these in there, put a little baking soda, a little bit of vinegar, creates a reaction that cleans up really good. Okay, so this one has lemon zest. To the other one, I'll add pistachio paste. Now I just opened this jar, and there's a lot of oil on top. pistachio oil, so I need to stir this really well. It smells good. It's like a really thin pistachio butter, peanut butter, kind of peanut butter, pistachio butter, of course. 25 grams of pistachio paste. Ooh, that's good. I bought this through Amazon, of course, but you could probably get it at like Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. Also, with the pistachio layer, I need half a teaspoon of almond extract and some green food coloring. I'm going to give it, that was a little bit over 2 drops, 2.5 drops. We'll see how that looks. Adding all of these things after you folded in the egg whites just seems like a lot of mixing, unnecessary mixing. That looks like a good color. Well, let's hope I can fill one of these pans. Now I'm supposed to spread it without losing the egg airiness. So I'll just do it very, very lightly. I don't want to pick it up and slam it down because that'll lose the air. I shouldn't shake it either. Fluffiness. So I have the oven preheated to 375, and these are probably going to take all of about 2 minutes, maybe 4 minutes to bake. Okay, these are going to go into a 375-degree oven for maybe 4 minutes. I'll watch them. I'm not even going to do anything else while they're baking, just so I can make sure to take them out as soon as they're done. Okay, they're done, and they took 8 minutes. Now they'll need to cool, and I'll start making the crème beurre, or French buttercream. Okay, for the French buttercream, it calls for 6 large egg yolks, and you'll recall I have 7 from earlier, so that's what I'm going to use. I need to whisk those with the whisk attachment until they are pale and creamy, and egg yolks aren't finicky like egg whites are, because you don't have to have a pristinely clean bowl. I rinsed these out earlier, and now I will let that mix, blend, whisk until they are pale and creamy. While that's going on, in a saucepan, I need to bring 60 milliliters of water and 190 grams of castor sugar I need to bring that to 240 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'll do that on the stove while this is mixing, and I'll use my instant read thermometer to get that temperature, and then I'll bring it back and slowly pour it into the eggs. 60 milliliters of water, which is 60 grams. It calls for castor sugar, but since it's going to be melted, it doesn't matter if it's larger granules. 190 grams of white granulated sugar. I'm not going to bore you with showing you how this goes on the stove top. If you want to see me heating up sugar water, you can watch one of the episodes with caramel in it. It's the same deal. Okay, this is up to 240 degrees Fahrenheit, and if you have watched my videos before, you'll notice that I have a new digital candy thermometer, so that's cool. Okay, in order to get this pale and creamy, I did have to lift the bowl because it's not quite enough for the whisk to reach all of the egg. Now I need to pour that very slowly into the egg. I've mixed in all of the sugar water, and now it needs to continue whipping until it's cool, because the next thing I need to add is 300 grams of unsalted butter. And I am using unsalted here because in frostings and buttercreams, I've found that if you use salted, it just tastes too buttery, for lack of a better word. So while this is mixing, I'm going to measure out 300 grams. And I have had these sticks out for a while now. The only thing I'm worried about in this recipe is that the buttercream in the pictures looks very white, but having just used egg yolks and now yellow butter, mine's not going to be white, it's going to be pale yellow. As I was adding the sugar water, some of it flicked up on the sides, so not all of it ended up in with my eggs. I might stop after I've added maybe 250 grams of butter just to see how creamy and buttery it is. But I'm going to turn on the mixer and add butter little bits at a time. This has cooled off. There's nothing else that goes in this, and I don't understand how it's going to have any structure to it. It's just going to be liquid. I'm probably going to add some powdered sugar just to give it some body. It just looks like butter. Well, I looked up a couple of recipes on my phone, and their recipes are the same, but I'm still concerned about all the sugar that I lost on the sides. So I'm going to add some powdered sugar. Then I'll decide if I want to add the rest of the butter. A 100 grams, which is less than a cup, maybe 3/4 of a cup. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the butter. All the butter is in, so now I'm going to add a tablespoon of vanilla bean paste. So if you recall, there are 3 layers of the buttercream, and 2 of those are vanilla and 1 is raspberry, the one in the middle. So I need to take out 1/3 of this and add some freeze-dried raspberries. Now, since my bowl has the sugar hardened all around the edges and even some on the bottom, I can't trust the weight of my bowl. So I'm going to put it all in this bowl and then figure out what 1/3 is. That is 640. So 1/3 of that would be 213. 213 goes in here. In her recipe, she uses fresh strawberries, but I'm going to use freeze-dried. I have freeze-dried raspberry powder. Don't really know how much to use. I'm just going to throw some in and see what it looks like. That's 20 grams. good. Ooh. So under the list of ingredients, there is something called syrup. That's a lemon juice, water, sugar, so a lemon simple syrup. But she never talks about using it. So I think I'll go ahead and make it and then put it on the lemon sponge. I wondered, because it only has lemon zest in it, if it would taste lemony enough. Then I need to melt some chocolate, because the very base is a layer of melted chocolate. To make the lemon simple syrup, I need the juice of 1 lemon, two tablespoons of water, 50 grams of white granulated sugar. I'm going to heat this on the stove just until it melts, so it'll be a syrup. I need 50 grams of chocolate melted, and it says 54% cocoa solids, but I just have 60. These are delicious, so 50 grams. I'm also supposed to put some chocolate decorations on the top. You're supposed to smear out the chocolate onto acetate, cut some nice little triangles, roll it up, and make some pretty little decorations. But I don't have any acetate, so I don't know that I can do that. I'm going to melt these in the microwave. Okay, I brought the simple syrup to boiling. Okay, it's time to start assembling, and I need the layers to be this size. Slightly smaller, apparently. It's about 16 and a half, so I'm going to do 8 1/4. So I have this cake pan with a removable bottom, and I believe it was called a 10-inch, but the square itself is 9 inches. Maybe it was a 9-inch. Anyway, so that's what I'm using, and start by okay, so it's going to be 8 inches. So it's 1/2 centimeter thick, or about 3/8 of an inch. I start by spreading this melted chocolate on here, because that's going to go, the chocolate will be face down inside the pan. I think I should probably get another pastry brush. Silicone's cool, but I think a regular one would be better. Offset spatula. Don't have to worry about the pastry brush. I really wish I'd had the original instructions. I think it would have been better than what I have, because it doesn't tell you how to do this at all. I just have to guess. Okay, well, there's the first layer. The other ones, I won't be able to use that to flip it in, so let's see. All right, let's see what this joconde tastes like. actually really good. I don't know how thick it's supposed to be. It looks thicker in the pictures, but it's not tough at all. It's quite airy. Now I brush some of the lemon simple syrup onto this lemon joconde sponge. Now I need to put half of the vanilla buttercream on. 213 grams should go on here. The reason you build it in a cake pan with a removable bottom is that you're supposed to be able to go all the way to the edges, and then when you put your layers on, they will be lined up so your buttercream won't spill out beyond. But mine doesn't quite fit, so it's going to go beyond a little bit, but I'll just have to clean it up when I get it out of here. That simple syrup didn't really soak in very well. This buttercream is so buttery, it's like trying to spread butter on top of an oily surface. So it's just kind of not working real well. So in order to get even layers, you have to get it spread perfectly flat. Okay, now you'll be able to see what I have going here. You can see there's spaces around the edges, and I finally got this buttercream sort of flat. Now I need to add a layer of the pistachio joconde sponge. Next is the raspberry buttercream. If you haven't been watching all of my episodes, or maybe some of the early ones you haven't seen, you might be wondering why I'm doing this YouTube channel, or why I decided to do the Great British Baking Show challenges. So I will tell you again. If you already know and don't want to hear it again, you can fast forward through this part, and I'll tell it while I'm spreading this out. So I only started baking sort of more challenging things, so things other than like just decorator cookies or maybe a cake here or there, a couple of years ago. And I really wanted to do some more challenging things. I watch all of the baking championship shows, and you know, they're making entremets and all of these fancy things, and I really wanted to make them. So I kept thinking of things I wanted to make, and I would buy all of these ingredients and then I wouldn't do it. And so I decided I needed some structure. I needed some list of things to make. So I thought, what better way to do that than to just start at the first Great British Baking Show episode that I have available to me, which is what Netflix calls season 5. It's the one recorded in 2017, that Sophie one, and just started going through them. Now, in addition to all that, I love to bake. Really enjoying trying new things, and it makes me sad when I hear people say, "Oh, I can't bake. I mess everything up and blah 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 and things like that." And on the even on the Great British Baking Show, you'll hear them say things like, if something goes wrong, they'll say, "Oh, I'm never going to make that again." And I'm just not that way. When I mess something up or something doesn't go right, I want to do it again because I want to figure out what went wrong, how I can fix it. I like the challenge of trying to get it right. And as maybe you could tell by this episode, if maybe this is the first one you've watched, I do these things never having done some of them before. And I want to show people who haven't baked that even when you don't do perfect bakes, you can still make some really good stuff. And if something goes wrong somewhere along the way, a lot of times you can still salvage it. You don't have to just throw it out and give up. There's ways of getting around what the recipe says or getting around an error that you made. If you watch my videos, you will find that I make lots of errors, and I come up with ways to fix it or get over it or do it a different way. And most of the time, 95% of the time, things turn out such that I can go ahead and serve them to people. I've had lots of issues with this bake in particular, not the least of which is I don't have a complete set of instructions. So I don't have that much experience, but if I can't do it exactly like the recipe, I'll find another way to do it. And I want to be able to teach that to people. I want people to see that I've made mistakes and give you some options for how you might overcome that. If you watch a lot of my videos, you'll see that there's a lot of mistakes, or I don't have that ingredient, or I don't have acetate, whatever that is. And I find a way to get around it. And I want other people to do that too. So from one home baker to others, I hope that I can do that. So, okay, enough of that. All right, now I need another layer of another pistachio. Now the other layer of vanilla buttercream. Okay, here's a perfect example of something that went wrong. I was trying to pick this up and this whole piece tore off. Now, I need to make, once I have these in there, I need to make 9 identical pieces. So what I'm going to do is take this piece that is okay, and I'm going to put this one on top. The other thing is I'm supposed to do the simple syrup on here. Let's see if I can do that. I want to do it before I put it on. So my cake is actually measuring about 8 inches, a little bit less. I'm going to do it in centimeters so I can divide it by 3 more easily. 20, a little less than 7 centimeters. Well, it's square at least. That's actually going to make it easier to pick up. Maybe I should have done that the whole time. We'll see. I'm putting the simple syrup toward the inside. So what's showing here is what's going to be shown. I think I need to scoot it just a little bit that way. Okay. Now I'm going to make 2 more 7 centimeter strips. So that's going to be my 3 rows. Now I need to do 3 this way. Okay. On the Great British Baking Show, the bakers had to temper chocolate, as I mentioned, and I don't have any chocolate that I can temper. Apparently you can't temper chocolate chips because they have extra ingredients that it won't work. So I am doing some other things. I have some frosting left over from a different bake that I did, and it's just a white buttercream frosting. I'm going to add a little bit of pistachio paste to that. And I've always thought and said that when you decorate on the outside, part of the reason you do that is you want to indicate what the flavors are on the inside. So I figure if they have a little bit of pistachio paste on the top, I mean, I could toast some pistachios, put a little crumb, but that'll take too much time. So I'm just going to do this. Then I have some fresh raspberries that I can put on the top. And it would be nice if I had some sort of lemon. I could candy some lemon, but again, that'll take too much time. I can taste the pistachios. I'm going to put just a little bit more. It's pretty thin, so I'll probably just give it just a cream on top. Then I have some chocolate frosting left over from the Dubai chocolate cake that I made. This stuff is amazing. And the other thing that they had on their bakes was some of the powdered freeze-dried raspberries. So I'm going to do a combination of those. The first thing I need to do is get this out of here. I'm going to try using a serrated bread knife. I think it'll give me the cleanest cut because it's nice and sharp. Let's see how they look. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Not quite as beautiful on the outside, again, because it didn't fit perfectly in the thing, but I'm I can fix it. Oh my gosh. I'll leave that in. Everybody can laugh at me. I'm okay with it. I know Cynthia's laughing. I love you. Okay. I will try not to get too excited. So I told you that I have been doing the baking school through the Bake from Scratch magazine, and it's just one night a week. They demonstrate how to make some interesting things, and one of their sayings is, bake it your own. So they're basically saying, you know, if a design has a particular design to it, use a particular tip or something, doesn't mean you have to do it exactly like that. You can just do whatever your heart tells you to do. That's what Laura says. And I like it. Because, again, it gives you more freedom than people think they have. People don't think they have freedom when they bake, and you do. Again, you can make mistakes, you don't have to do everything perfectly, and you can still end up with something that's delicious. Your friends and your family will be happy that you just made something from scratch, and they'll appreciate it and they'll like it just for that. Okay, so I know that doesn't really add much color, but it adds an extra little decorative element on top. And now I'm going to pipe a little bit of this chocolate. I'm going to use a coupler so that I can use different tips if I want. I don't need much. I'm just going to put one little blob or something on each one. Before I put the chocolate blob, I have this freeze-dried raspberry powder. I'm going to put a little bit of sprinkling of this on it. I have a number 19 star tip. I'm going to add some bling. This is gold bead dragées. Okay, so I mentioned that I have these raspberries, but as I was doing the chocolate, I thought I'd put the raspberry, half a raspberry right in the middle, but since I am not serving these right away, I'm just afraid that those juicy raspberry fruits are going to leak or cause some kind of problem. So I'm just not going to put them on there. I have a representation of raspberry on here, so I'm calling it done. Well, the baking sheet I used must have been the right size because the layers of crème beurre, the buttercream, are the same thickness as the layers of sponge. And that's how it's supposed to be. So, oh my gosh, I can't believe they look that good. Yeah, this is exciting. Well, if you made it till the end, thank you for joining me. I enjoy baking, and I've told you why I'm doing this. I also love to learn. So if you have any suggestions, or if I've done something in a weird way that could be done more efficiently or in a better way, I'd love to hear it. Next is the Showstopper Challenge, and it is making various things out of meringue. So you have to make a structure out of meringue and then a couple of other little meringues to go around or other little treats to go with it. So I've been trying to think of a structure I want to make. On the show, somebody made swans. Sophie made a ballet tutu. Stephen, a hot air balloon. And Kate made rainbows. So I'm still trying to decide what I want to do. Anyway, see you next time. Thanks for joining me.